I agree with the BLM movement. I agree everybody has the right to protest and assemble, but I do not agree that people have the right to burn down. I don't appreciate that people are burning down American cities.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha?
You decided to go in. First, you're cleaning up graffiti, correct?
Yes. So we say the night August. I say the night August 24th. We wake up in the morning and we're talking. We're like, let's go help our community. Let's go see what we can do. And we ended up at Ruther Central High School, where we were cleaning graffiti for a couple hours, and then we met with the owners of Car Source, and we offered to protect their business from fires, making sure the rest of their other two properties didn't get burned down like they did the night prior, and they agreed. We came back. We went back to Dominic's house and hung out there for a little bit, and then we went to Car Source to help protect the property and make sure it didn't set on fire again. When I get there, I see in the beginning, the morning of Ruther Central, I see just spray paint everywhere. I see smoke coming from the Car Source that was burnt down, and it was quite upsetting because that was somebody's business that got destroyed.
So you said to the people who own the car lot, I want to protect your cars, and they said, yes, please.
I said, hey, I asked if they needed any help, and they said, yes, if you can.
Where were the police?
I'm not sure really, because they have a hard job. I didn't really think they got the support they needed. The National Guard should have been called August 23rd, but the city of Kenosha failed the community.
You've been criticized for carrying a firearm into the scene, but it's obvious from the tape that a lot of people, you were not the only one with a firearm. There were rioters with firearms. Was that obvious to you?
Yes. I did. There was a lot of people there were rioters with firearms. I remember one very distinctly. Joshua Zeminski was walking around with a pistol in his hand all that night with Joseph Rosenbaum. The first time I saw Rosenbaum was the first time he threatened to kill me. It was at the corner of the Car Source lot that I was at primarily that night, and I was asking people if they needed medical, and he came up to me and Ryan Balch, and he said, if I catch any of you MFers alone, I'm going to effing kill you. It was quite shocking. I was like, why would somebody threaten to kill me? I'm just asking if people need help on both sides. I was there just to help anybody that needed, and shockingly, the only people I helped that night were rioters.
How long after that was it that he tried to grab your rifle?
Oh, we got a gun, baby. Ooh.
It was about an hour and a half later, and then there was actually a second time he said to the group, this is the second time he threatened to kill everybody. He said, I'm gonna effing kill you. I'm gonna cut your hearts out, you effing N-words. What I noticed is the rioters were trying to, they were disassociating with him because he was spewing the N-word around.
Shoot me, nigga! Shoot me, nigga!
And they just didn't seem to want to have anything to deal with him, the rioters.
Yeah. So he comes, he tries to grab your rifle, he gets shot. You decide at that point, unless I'm misremembering, you want to go turn yourself into the police.
Yes. He tried to grab my gun. I was running away. There was a gunshot behind me. After I shoot him, I run around the car because I was going to go render first aid to him. I wasn't able to because then there was a mob forming and calling for my execution to get him and kill him. And that's when I tried to run to the police line and get to the police. And then attacked again.
By the guy who kicked you?
By Jump Kick Man, yes.
So you're running, trying to get to the police lines, and then out of nowhere you get dropped to the ground. By the guy who kicks you in the head.
Mm-hmm. To backtrack a little bit, actually, as I'm running, Gage Grosskreutz came up to me with his phone and put it in my face, and he said, "What are you doing? Did you just shoot that man?" And I told him, "I'm going to the police." And he said, "Oh, okay," and ran off, and I kept running to get to the police. And that's when Anthony Huber strikes me with the skateboard as I'm running before I'm on the ground for the first time. And then I'm hit rock by somebody in a white tank top, and that's how I end up on the ground. And I have 4 people around me from what I remember, and I move my firearm in their direction, and they back off with their hands up so I don't shoot them. And then Jump Kick Man keeps coming.
And he kicks you.
Yes. After Jump Kick Man is running off, Anthony Huber comes up and he grabs the barrel of my gun, and then he hits me with his skateboard holding his trucks, and that's when I shoot him 1 time.
Did you think you were going to be killed at that point?
I did. And then after Mr. Huber attacks me, Mr. Grosskreutz puts his hands up, and then I have my rifle pointed in his direction for about a second, and this time he runs at me and he has his gun pointed directly at my head.
What, do you think he was going to shoot you?
I did. He had it pointed directly at my head, and that's when I shoot him 1 time, and he is no longer a threat to me at that point because he ran off after I fired that shot.
Did you realize you'd hit him?
I didn't know until later. There is a person directly in front of me, and I point my rifle in their direction, and he puts his hands up, and he's backing up, and I then turn around, start going to the police, and then I hear shots behind me, and I turn around and briefly raise my rifle to see if I'm being shot at, and then I realize I can't see who's shooting at me, so then I turn around and go back to the police car, towards the police line.
And then you finally make it to the police line.
Yes. Once I make it to the police cruiser, the police officer says, "Get back, get back, get back." One of them has a gun out and the other has pepper spray pointed at me. And I say, "Hey, I just had to shoot somebody. I just had to shoot somebody." And then they say, "Go home." And I didn't know this until...
Go home?
Yeah. The officer said to go home. I don't think he knew what happened or heard me. There's a lot of chaos going on. Apparently, he pepper sprayed me. You can see it in the video, but I don't remember being pepper sprayed by him.
Why do you think people were burning car source? What does that have to do with civil rights?
I don't know. I think it was opportunists taking advantage of the BLM movement. I agree with the BLM movement. I agree everybody has the right to protest and assemble, but I do not agree that people have the right to burn down. I don't appreciate that people are burning down American cities to try to spread their message. I think there's other ways to go around and do that.
What'd your parents say when you called them and told them what had happened?
I didn't call my mom after I saw her, and she was in shock. She was like, she wanted to go into hiding, and I said, no, the right thing to do would be to turn myself in. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not a racist person. I support the BLM movement. I support peacefully demonstrating, and I believe there needs to be change. I believe there's a lot of prosecutorial misconduct, not just in my case, but in other cases, and it's just amazing to see how much a prosecutor can take advantage of somebody. Like, if they did this to me, imagine what they could have done to a person of color who doesn't maybe have the resources I do or is not widely publicized like my case.